stood in the center of the massive crystal chamber. The walls stretched up so high that she could barely see the ceiling. Strange lights danced across the transparent surfaces, casting rainbow patterns on the floor beneath her feet. This was the Galactic Council's main courtroom, built inside a space station called Seven. The station floated in empty space, far from any planet or star. Around her, 12 different alien races sat on floating platforms. Each platform held the leaders of species that had ruled parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. Some looked like giant insects with multiple eyes. Others appeared to be made of pure energy, glowing and shifting constantly. A few resembled walking plants with thick, bark-like skin. Wore her best diplomatic uniform, a simple black suit with the Earth's flag on her shoulder. She was the first human ambassador ever invited to speak before the Galactic Council. For 40 years, humans had been trying to join this group. Earth had sent messages, offered trade deals, and shared scientific discoveries. Every time, the aliens had ignored them. Then, 6 months ago, everything changed. Human colonies had spread to 3 new star systems. Each colony built defensive stations around their planets. It was normal procedure. Humans always protected their homes, but the aliens saw this differently. The High Judge floated in front of the looked like tall, thin creatures with silver skin and no hair. Their eyes were completely black, and when they spoke, their voices sounded like whispers echoing in caves. The High Judge was the oldest and most powerful in the galaxy. "Human," the judge said, her voice filling the chamber. "You stand accused of aggressive expansion violations. Your species has built military installations in 3 star systems without council permission." Kept her face calm. She had practiced this speech many times. "Honored council members, these installations are purely defensive. We built them to protect our colonies from asteroids, solar radiation, and space debris. Every human settlement follows the same safety protocols." A creature that looked like a floating jellyfish with tentacles made of light spoke next. This was a member of the Ethereal Collective. Defense installations with weapons capable of destroying entire fleets. "Our weapons are defensive systems designed to protect civilian populations," replied. "We have never used them against any council species or their allies." The judge raised one long, thin arm. "The council has reviewed your species' history. You are a warlike race. Your planet has seen constant conflict for thousands of years. You have weapons that can destroy entire worlds." Felt her heart beating faster, but her voice remained steady. "We learned from our mistakes. Humans have lived in peace for over 200 years. We explore space to build new homes, not to conquer other species." "Peace?" The judge's black eyes seemed to grow larger. "Your colonies train soldiers. Your ships carry weapons. Your research stations study military technology." "Every species needs to defend itself," said. "We have seen what happens to defenseless civilizations. Pirates, raiders, natural disasters. Space is dangerous. We prepare for these threats because we care about our people." A creature that looked like a walking tree with glowing fruit for eyes leaned forward. This was an elder. "The council has maintained peace for 10,000 years. We do not need another aggressive species disrupting that peace." Took a deep breath. "We don't want to disrupt anything. We want to join you. Humans have knowledge to share, new medicines, energy sources, technologies that could help everyone." The judge stood up on her platform. "The council has made its decision. Humanity represents an existential threat to galactic peace. Your species expands too quickly, builds too many weapons, and refuses to accept council authority." "What does that mean?" asked, though she was beginning to understand. "It means your species must learn the price of defying galactic order," the judge said. "It means this council will send a message that cannot be misunderstood." His hands began to shake. "I came here to talk. I came here for peace." "And you will serve peace," the judge replied. "Your death will prevent a war." Guards appeared from hidden doors in the crystal walls. They were wearing armor that seemed to be made of liquid metal. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Had seen these weapons before, they could destroy matter at the atomic level. "Wait," said her voice stronger now. "I am a diplomatic envoy. I have immunity under galactic law." "The Council makes galactic law," the judge said, "and the Council has decided that your immunity is void." Looked around the chamber at the 12 alien races. Some watched with interest like they were viewing entertainment. Others seemed bored, as if they had seen this many times before. A few appeared uncomfortable, but none spoke up for her. The judge activated a device on her platform. Cameras throughout the galaxy began broadcasting the trial live. Billions of aliens across thousands of worlds would watch what happened next. "Let this serve as a warning," the judge announced. "This is what happens to species that threaten Council peace." Closed her eyes for a moment, thinking of Earth. She thought of the blue oceans, the white clouds, the cities full of humans living their daily lives. She thought of her daughter, who was studying to be a doctor. She thought of her husband, who had wanted to come with her but stayed home to teach at the university. When she opened her eyes, stood straight and tall. "I forgive you," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the chamber and across the galaxy. "But Earth remembers everything." The judge pointed her weapon at the quantum disintegrator, charged up with a high-pitched whine. "Execute the human envoy." Did not scream. She did not beg. She did not fall to her knees. She stood with dignity as the weapon fired. The beam hit her chest and she began to dissolve, atom by atom. It took 30 seconds for her body to completely disappear. The chamber fell silent. The judge turned to the cameras. "Let all species learn from this example. The Council protects galactic peace. Those who threaten it will face the same fate." Across the galaxy, billions of aliens watched the broadcast end. Most felt satisfied that justice had been done. The humans had been too aggressive, too dangerous. Now they would learn their place. But on Earth, in a quiet room where family watched her die, something else began. Something the Council had not expected. Something that would change the galaxy forever. The humans began to plan. The news of execution reached Earth exactly 72 hours after her death. The message traveled through a chain of communication relays, jumping from star system to star system until it arrived at humanity's home world. The Earth Defense Council received the broadcast in a secure underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps. General sat at the head of a long metal table. Around him, 20 other military leaders and government officials watched the recording of final moments. The room was completely silent except for the soft hum of air recyclers and computer systems. When the recording ended, someone turned off the large screen. The room remained quiet for several minutes. No one spoke. No one moved. The weight of what they had just witnessed settled over them like a heavy blanket. "Recommendations?" General finally asked. "We protest through diplomatic channels," suggested Ambassador's replacement, who had been scheduled to join her next week. "We demand justice through the galactic court system." "We issue economic sanctions," said Trade Minister Williams. "Stop all shipments of rare earth minerals to Council worlds." "We recall our colonies and build defensive positions around Earth," offered Admiral Price. General listened to each suggestion, then shook his head slowly. "No." The room fell silent again, stood up and walked to a wall covered with star maps. Red dots marked human colonies. Blue dots showed Council territories. Green lines indicated trade routes and communication networks. "Went there to make peace," said quietly. "She offered friendship, cooperation, shared knowledge. They killed her to send us a message." He turned back to face the room. "Now we send them one." "What kind of message?" asked Dr. Sarah Foster, the head of Human Colonial Affairs. His face was like stone. "We activate the protocols." The room erupted in shocked whispers. The protocols were theoretical military plans developed during Earth's worst wars 3 centuries ago. They were designed for one purpose: the complete elimination of existential threats. No one had expected them to ever be used. "Sir," Admiral Price said carefully, "the protocols haven't been updated for galactic warfare. They were designed for planetary conflicts." "Then we update them," replied. "We have the best strategic minds in human space. We have the most advanced technology, and now we have motivation." Dr. Foster raised her hand. "General, the Council has 12 member species across thousands of worlds. Their combined fleets number in the millions of ships. Our entire human navy has maybe 50,000 vessels." Smiled for the first time since watching die. It was not a pleasant smile. "Doctor, you're thinking like a Council species. You're thinking about traditional warfare, big fleets fighting big battles in open space." He walked back to the star map and pointed to various systems. The WHO executed, they have colonies in 47 systems. They have mining operations, research stations, military bases, trade hubs. Millions of installations spread across hundreds of light years. Turn to face the room again. We're not going to fight their fleets. We're going to make their fleets irrelevant. Over the next several hours, the Earth Defense Council made decisions that would reshape the galaxy. They activated hidden communication networks that had been dormant for decades. They sent coded messages to human colonies, research stations, and exploration ships throughout known space. The messages were simple: protocol active, implement contingencies, maintain radio silence. Within 48 hours, the galactic communication networks noticed something strange. Human signals began disappearing. Scientific papers from human researchers stopped being published. Trade requests from human merchants went silent. Cultural exchanges between human and alien students ended abruptly. Human colony ships that had been requesting permission to settle new worlds simply vanished from tracking systems. Research stations studying dying stars stopped transmitting data. Even tourist ships full of humans visiting Council worlds recalled to their home territories without explanation. The diplomatic corps sent several messages to Earth, demanding to know why humans had stopped all communication. The messages went unanswered. They sent more urgent communications. Still no response. Other Council species began to notice the silence. The Ethereal Collective had been working with human scientists on energy research projects. Suddenly, all the humans assigned to these projects disappeared. They had been trading rare minerals with human colonies. The trade ships stopped coming. "It's just fear," High Judge Ra told the Emergency Council session. "The humans are scared after seeing what happens to those who threaten galactic peace. They will return to normal behavior within a few months." But the older Council members were not so sure. Elder Ra of the Ethereal Collective had lived for over 3,000 years. She had seen many species react to Council punishment. Usually, they sent angry messages, made threats, or attempted futile military responses. Complete silence was unusual. "In my experience," Elder Ra said, her light tentacles flickering with concern, "when a predator species goes silent, it means they are hunting." "Humans are not predators," Judge Ra replied. "They are a young species with primitive technology. They pose no threat to Council authority." But deep in space, far from Council monitoring stations, human ships were moving. Not the big, obvious vessels that aliens expected to see. Small ships, almost invisible to most sensors. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers or research vessels for years. These ships carried no weapons that Council members would recognize. Instead, they carried something far more dangerous: human engineers, human programmers, and human soldiers who had spent their entire lives studying alien technology and alien psychology. On Earth, in facilities hidden beneath mountains and ocean floors, thousands of humans worked around the clock. They studied every piece of information ever gathered about Council species. They analyzed alien communication patterns, military tactics, and technological weaknesses. Computer systems that had been designed for peaceful research were for war planning. Manufacturing facilities that produced consumer goods switched to military production. Universities that taught literature and art began teaching weapons design and intelligence gathering. But most importantly, humans did something that no Council species expected. They waited. The galaxy was used to immediate responses. When threatened, most species either submitted or attacked quickly. Humans did neither. They simply vanished into the darkness of space, taking all their knowledge, technology, and potential with them. Weeks passed. The silence continued. Council monitoring stations reported no human ship movements, no communication signals, no signs of military buildup. It was as if 4 billion humans had simply decided to stop existing. The silence was becoming louder than any war cry. And in that silence, the galaxy's most efficient predators began to hunt. 6 months after died, the first patrol fleet disappeared. The fleet consisted of 12 ships, 6 destroyers, 4 cruisers, and 2 command vessels. They were patrolling the outer edge of space, near a system called Beta 97. It was routine work, checking for pirates or unauthorized mining operations. At 14:30 Galactic Standard Time, the fleet sent their regular status report to command. All ships operational, no threats detected, continuing standard patrol route. At 14:35, they sent a routine sensor reading showing empty space in all directions. At 14:40, command lost all contact with the fleet. The communication blackout was complete. No distress signals, no emergency beacons, no final messages. The ship simply stopped existing as far as the galactic communication network was concerned. When a rescue fleet arrived at Beta 97 3 days later, they found nothing. No debris, no radiation signatures, no trace that 12 warships had ever been in that system. High Judge Ra dismissed the incident as equipment failure or navigational error. "Space is vast," she told the military council. "Sometimes ships get lost. They will return when their navigation systems reset." But they never returned, and 2 weeks later it happened again. This time, it was a mining operation in the asteroid belt. 3,000 workers operated massive extraction platforms, pulling rare metals from floating rocks the size of mountains. The facility had defensive shields and armed escort ships. It should have been impossible to attack without detection. The mining supervisor sent her daily production report at the end of her shift. Extracted 47,000 tons of processed, no complications, requesting additional excavation equipment for Sector 7. 8 hours later, a supply ship arrived to find empty space. The asteroids were still there, floating in their ancient patterns. But the mining platforms, the worker habitats, the defensive installations, and all 3,000 had vanished completely. The supply ship captain, a veteran named, sent a panicked message to command. "There's nothing here. The entire operation is gone. I don't understand what happened." Command sent investigation teams to both locations. They found the same thing at each site, absolutely nothing. No energy signatures indicating weapons fire, no signs of explosion or collision, no evidence of any kind that suggested what had happened to the missing. The investigators did notice one strange detail. In both locations, space seemed slightly cleaner than it should have been. Normally, any area with heavy ship traffic accumulated small amounts of debris, tiny metal fragments, fuel particles, waste heat. But these areas were completely clean, as if someone had carefully removed every trace of activity. Elder Ra of the Ethereal Collective requested permission to investigate the disappearances. Her people were experts at detecting energy patterns invisible to other species. What she found disturbed her more than empty space would have. "There are traces," she reported to the emergency council session. "Extremely faint signatures of controlled matter displacement. Someone used technology to move large amounts of mass without leaving the normal energy signatures." "What kind of technology?" asked Judge Ra. "I don't know," Elder Ra admitted. "The signatures don't match any known council technology. They're too precise, too efficient. It's as if someone learned to manipulate matter at the quantum level without creating the energy waste that our methods produce." Judge Ra's silver skin flushed darker. "You're suggesting someone has technology superior to ours." "I'm suggesting someone understands our technology better than we do." The disappearances accelerated. A research station studying solar flares vanished while transmitting data. A diplomatic convoy traveling between council worlds never arrived at their destination. Trade ships carrying valuable cargo to colonies were found floating empty in space, their crews simply gone. Each incident followed the same pattern: no distress calls, no signs of struggle, no evidence of what had happened. The only trace was that strange cleanliness, as if professional janitors had carefully removed all proof of presence. Admiral, commander of the home fleet, demanded action. "We're losing ships and installations throughout our territory. This isn't random pirate activity or equipment failure. Someone is systematically targeting our people." "Who?" asked Judge Ra. "Our intelligence networks show no military buildups by any known species. No council member has the capability to make entire fleets disappear." Admiral pulled up a holographic star map. Red markers showed the locations of vanished assets. "Look at the pattern. These aren't random attacks. Someone is methodically working through our outer territories, moving toward our core systems." The Admiral was right. The disappearances formed a clear progression, starting with remote outposts and gradually moving toward more important installations. Supply lines were being cut. Communication relays were vanishing. Defensive positions were being eliminated in a specific order that would leave core worlds isolated and vulnerable. "Whoever is doing this understands our military doctrine," Admiral continued. "They know which installations are critical to our defense network. They're not just attacking us, they're systematically dismantling our entire infrastructure." Judge Ra studied the map. "How many ships and personnel have we lost?" 47 installations, 31 ships, approximately 15,000 personnel, all in the past 4 months. The number should have been shocking, but what really disturbed the council was the efficiency. 15,000 trained military personnel and civilians simply gone. No bodies recovered, no prisoners taken, no demands made. It was as if they had been erased from existence. Then came the message that changed everything. Admiral commanded the 7th Fleet, 12 heavy cruisers patrolling the approaches to the AL system. He was a careful commander who followed all security protocols. His ships maintained constant communication, ran full sensor sweeps every 30 minutes, and never traveled alone. At 9:15 Galactic Standard Time, Admiral sent what would be his final transmission. "Unknown contacts detected. Multiple small objects approaching from." "Wait, how are they moving like that? They're not showing up on." The transmission cut off mid-sentence. Rescue ships found Admiral's command vessel drifting in space 3 hours later. The ship was intact but empty. The entire crew of 800 had vanished. But this time, someone had left a message. Written on the bridge wall in perfect script were 4 words: "Sends regards." When High Judge Ra received that message, she finally understood the truth that would terrify the galaxy. The humans weren't hiding. They weren't building fleets for traditional warfare. They were hunting, and they were very, very good at it. The Galactic Council Emergency Session was the largest gathering in over 1,000 years. Representatives from all 12 member species filled the crystal chamber on 7. Additional platforms had been installed to accommodate the crowds of diplomats, military advisors, and intelligence officials. High Judge Ra stood before the assembly, her silver skin pale with stress. In the 6 months since the disappearances began, the Republic had lost over 300 installations and 70,000 personnel. Their outer territories were completely empty. Supply lines to their core worlds had been severed. "The situation is beyond critical," Judge Ra announced. "Our intelligence services have found no evidence of who is responsible for these attacks. Our best military minds cannot explain how entire fleets vanish without trace. We need Council support too." A deep humming sound filled the chamber. The crystal walls began to vibrate. Emergency alarms started ringing throughout the station as the defense sensors detected something that should have been impossible. A ship was materializing inside the chamber itself. It was not a large vessel, perhaps 50 meters long, sleek and dark gray. But what terrified everyone in the room was not its size, but how it had appeared. 7 had the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy. Nothing could approach the station without detection. Nothing could penetrate the energy barriers around the council chamber. Yet somehow, this ship had simply appeared in the center of the room, as if it had been there all along. The ship settled gently onto the chamber floor. A hatch opened with a soft hiss. Out stepped a single human woman wearing a simple black military uniform. She was tall and athletic, with short brown hair and calm brown eyes. Her movements were precise and confident. "Good afternoon, honored council members," the woman said in perfect Galactic Standard language. "I am Admiral Sarah of the Human Defense Force. I believe we need to talk." Judge Ra found her voice first. "How did you get here? Our defenses should have." "Your defenses worked perfectly," Admiral replied. "They detected no threats because I am not here to threaten anyone except those responsible for murdering Ambassador." She walked calmly to the center of the chamber, showing no fear despite being surrounded by billions of aliens watching the live broadcast. 6 months and 12 days ago, you executed our diplomatic envoy. We accepted your declaration of war." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Representatives demanded explanations. Security forces tried to surround the human ship, only to discover their weapons would not function. Emergency communications to defense fleets received no response. Admiral waited patiently for quiet, then continued. "You seem confused about what has been happening to installations. Let me clarify the situation." She activated a small device from her belt. Holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber, showing star maps with detailed information about every facility that had disappeared. Installation Alpha 7, mining platform in the belt, eliminated on day 15. Method, matter displacement technology using quantum tunneling. Duration, 4 minutes 17 seconds. Personnel, relocated to processing facility on Luna. Judge Ra's black eyes widened. "Relocated, you mean they're alive?" "Every we removed from military installations is alive and unharmed," Admiral confirmed. "We are not murderers like you. However, they will remain in custody until this conflict ends." She gestured to another display. Installation Beta 12, communication relay in the system, eliminated on day 23. Method, targeted electromagnetic pulse followed by complete structural disassembly. Duration, 11 minutes 42 seconds. Elder Ra of the Ethereal Collective floated closer too. "How long have you been planning this campaign?" Admiral's expression remained calm. "We began serious preparation for galactic conflict approximately 47 years ago, shortly after first contact with Council species. However, the basic framework was developed much earlier." "What framework?" asked Judge Ra. "The framework for species survival," Admiral replied. "Humans learned long ago that the universe does not reward the unprepared. When we first detected signals from Council space, our governments asked a simple question: what if they are hostile?" She activated another display showing human colonies throughout the galaxy. What the council saw horrified them. Each colony that appeared to be a simple farming settlement or mining operation was actually a sophisticated military installation. Every human settlement beyond Earth has dual purposes, Admiral explained. Colony ships that appeared to carry families and farming equipment also contained manufacturing systems capable of producing advanced weaponry. Research stations studying stellar phenomena were simultaneously analyzing Council military capabilities. The Elder, a tree-like creature named Growth Towardson, spoke with a voice like rustling leaves. "You were spying on us for decades." "We were learning about you," Admiral corrected, "just as you studied us. The difference is that we studied more effectively." She brought up detailed profiles of every Council species. Psychology, hierarchical society with extreme deference to authority, individual initiative discouraged. Military doctrine emphasizes large fleet actions with minimal tactical flexibility. Weakness, unable to adapt quickly to unconventional warfare. Judge Ra's silver skin flushed darker. "You had no right to. You forfeited any claim to rights when you murdered our ambassador," Admiral interrupted, her voice becoming harder. "Came here offering friendship. You killed her to send a message. We received that message clearly." She gestured to a new display showing the systematic elimination of assets. 847 installations eliminated. 73,000 personnel relocated to secure facilities. 37 star systems cleared of all presence. The numbers were staggering. In 6 months, humans had effectively erased the Republic from 1/3 of their territory, and they had done it without anyone understanding how. Admiral continued her presentation with clinical precision. The Council operates on the assumption that galactic warfare requires massive fleets engaging in direct combat. This assumption is incorrect when facing an opponent who views warfare as an engineering problem. "Engineering problem?" asked Elder Ra. "Every military installation has specific vulnerabilities," Admiral explained. "Power systems that can be overloaded, communication networks that can be infiltrated, personnel who can be safely removed, life support systems that can be temporarily disabled. It is simply a matter of analyzing each target and applying the correct solution." She showed detailed schematics of facilities, with human modifications highlighted in red. "While you focused on building bigger ships with more weapons, we focused on understanding exactly how your technology works. We know your systems better than you do because we approached them from an outside perspective." Judge Ra was struggling to comprehend the scope of human preparation. How many humans are involved in this operation? "Every human beyond Earth," Admiral replied simply. "Approximately 4 billion people. We are not a traditional military force with separate civilian and military populations. When threatened with extinction, our entire species becomes a military force." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Council had been thinking of humans as a minor species with a small fleet. In reality, they faced an enemy that had turned their entire civilization into a distributed intelligence and manufacturing network dedicated to warfare. Admiral's voice became very quiet, but everyone heard her clearly. "You executed to teach us our place in your galactic order. Today, you learned yours in ours." Admiral Sarah stood calmly in the center of the Council chamber as chaos erupted around her. Representatives from 12 species shouted in dozens of languages. Emergency protocols activated throughout the station. Military commanders tried desperately to contact their fleets, only to discover that human interference had made communication impossible. High Judge Ra finally restored order by activating the chamber's sound dampeners. In the sudden silence, her voice carried clearly. "Admiral, what exactly do you want?" Smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. It was not a warm expression. "Justice for reparations for the act of war committed against humanity, and guarantees that such an incident will never happen again. What kind of guarantees? Asked Elder Ra of the Ethereal Collective. Activated her holographic display again. This time, it showed a map of former space. Large sections were now marked with human symbols. All territory outside their core 15 systems will be transferred to human administration. These areas will serve as buffer zones to prevent future conflicts. Judge Ra's silver skin turned almost white. You're demanding we give you 40% of space. We're informing you that we have already taken it, corrected. The question is whether you prefer to acknowledge this reality through negotiation or through continued demonstration of human capabilities. The elder, Growth Toward Sun, rustled his leaves nervously. What about the civilians in those territories? Billions of people live on those worlds. They will be relocated to core systems with full compensation and resettlement assistance, replied. We have no interest in ruling over unwilling populations. We want empty space between our species and theirs. She brought up another display showing detailed relocation plans. Transport ships are already en route to begin voluntary evacuation. Any who wishes to remain in human-administered space may do so under human law. Any who wish to leave will be assisted in doing so. Admiral of the Home Fleet, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. What about our military personnel you captured, the 73,000 you removed from our installations? They will be returned after this conflict officially ends, said. All are healthy and unharmed. Many have volunteered to provide information about military capabilities in exchange for better treatment. The implications of this statement rippled through the chamber. The humans had not only captured thousands of military personnel, but had convinced some of them to cooperate. The psychological warfare aspect was as devastating as the physical destruction. Elder Ra studied the human admiral carefully. You planned this entire operation assuming we would negotiate rather than fight. We planned for both possibilities, replied. If you choose to fight, we will finish dismantling military capabilities and then negotiate with whoever takes their place on the council. The outcome will be the same, but the cost in lives and resources will be much higher. She activated a new display showing human military assets throughout the galaxy. The council members gasped as they realized the true extent of human preparation. Hidden installations dotted the star maps like an infection spreading through galactic space. For 47 years, every human research station, every mining operation, every seemingly peaceful colony has been recording, analyzing, and preparing, continued. We know the location of every council military base. We have infiltrated your communication networks. We understand your economies, your politics, your social structures. Judge Ra's voice was barely a whisper. How many other species have you prepared to eliminate? His expression remained neutral. We have detailed contingency plans for every species that might pose a threat to human survival. However, we prefer cooperation to conflict. They made cooperation impossible when they executed our ambassador. Growth Toward Sun swayed his branches in what might have been distress. What about the rest of the council? Do you intend to make demands of all of us? Only one demand, replied. Humanity will have permanent representation on the Galactic Council with full voting rights. No decisions affecting human interests will be made without human participation. The chamber fell silent as the council members absorbed this requirement. For 10,000 years, membership in the council had been reserved for species that had proven themselves through of peaceful cooperation. Humans were demanding instant admission through military supremacy. Elder Ra was the first to speak. The council has never admitted a species through intimidation. The council has never faced a species like humanity, replied. You admitted the after they destroyed 3 pirate fleets. You admitted the after they ended the Sector 7 rebellion. military capability has always been a factor in council membership. Those were actions taken to preserve peace, protested Judge Ra. So is this, said simply. We are preserving peace by ensuring that no species will ever again make the mistake of murdering human diplomats. She gestured to her displays, showing the scope of human operations. The alternative to negotiation is continued conflict. We can maintain this campaign indefinitely. Our production capabilities are distributed across hundreds of worlds. Our intelligence networks span the entire galaxy. We are prepared for a very long war if necessary. Admiral studied the tactical displays with professional interest. How long would it take you to eliminate all military assets? Consulted a small device. With current resources and assuming no interference from other council species, approximately 14 months to dismantle all defensive installations and reduce the fleet to ineffective levels. The casual precision of this estimate sent chills through the chamber. The humans had not only planned this campaign, but had calculated exactly how long it would take to destroy an entire galactic civilization. Judge Ra looked around the chamber at her fellow council members. The choice was clear: accept human demands or watch as they systematically dismantled any species that opposed them. What guarantees do we have that humanity will not use these same methods against other council members? She asked. His expression softened slightly. You have the same guarantee offered when she came here seeking peace. Humans prefer cooperation to conflict. We will never be the aggressors in any future disputes, but we will also never again be victims. She activated one final display, showing plans for a new council chamber. Construction will begin immediately on an expanded facility. The new chamber will include permanent accommodation for human representatives. The memorial hall honoring will be completed within 6 months. Growth Tordson rustled his leaves in what might have been resignation. And if we refuse these terms? Looked directly at him with calm brown eyes. Then in 14 months, you will be negotiating with whoever replaces thee on the council. The terms will be the same, but you will have lost the opportunity to end this conflict peacefully. The vote was taken immediately. 11 species voted to accept human demands. The abstained, having lost the moral authority to oppose terms for a war they had started. 3 months later, Admiral Sarah sat in a new chamber designed to accommodate human representatives. The walls bore a simple bronze plaque, Ambassador Memorial Hall, where humanity learned that peace requires strength. The galaxy had learned something too. Humans could be diplomatic, patient, and cooperative, but they were still the most terrifyingly efficient apex predators in known space. And they never forgot anything.